welcome back to the class of literary readers. I am Pratibha. As we are continuing our series on the history of English literature, so today we are going to talk about the next period, which you can see on the screen, the period of Civil War. If you haven't watched that previous video where I have talked about the Jacobean and Caroline era, do watch that because these two periods are connected with each other. So today we are going to talk about the historical background of this period, literary features, major writers and their significant works written during this period. But before that, if you are new here, then don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so that you can never miss any notifications from this channel. So let us begin our discussion on the period of Civil War. If we talk about the timeline of this period, then this period was started from 1649 to 1660. As in the Caroline Age, we have seen that in 1649, in the year 1649, the King Charles I was executed. So after 1649, period of civil war started. So the timeline here is 1649 to 1660. Apart from it, this period is also known as Puritan Age, Interregnum Period, or the Commonwealth Period. Now let us talk about the historical background of this period. Civil war was fought between Royalists, who are known as Cavaliers, and who were the supporters of the king. Now during this period, one of the major event of this period historically was the Civil War. So Civil War was fought between Royalists, who were the supporters of the king and who are also known as the Cavaliers, and Parliamentarians, who are known as Roundheads, who were the supporters of the Parliament because Parliament was not happy with the King Charles I. So there were two groups in England, the Royalist supporters of the king and the Parliamentarians who were supporters of the Parliament. Then do remember the timeline of Civil War. It was started from 1640 till 1660. Then in 1649, execution of Charles I. As we have seen that Charles I was executed in the year 1649. So do remember that in the historical background we have Civil War, the timeline of the Civil War, and in 1649 Charles I was executed. Now, why this period is known as the Interregnum period? Interregnum refers to the period between two reigns of kings, especially in England from 1649 to 1660, when there was no monarch after the execution of Charles I and before the restoration of Charles II. So interregnum का मतलब है between two reigns. In 1649, Charles I was executed. Then in 1660, Charles II was restored to the throne of England. So between 1649 to 1660, there was no king in England. So interregnum का मतलब है between the two reigns of the kings. So that is why this period is known as interregnum period. The Commonwealth refers to the period in English history when England was governed without a king, functioned as a republic following the execution of Charles I. Commonwealth का मतलब होता है for the republic. So Commonwealth refers to the period in English history when England was without a king, because during that period between 1649 to 1660 there was no monarch or no king in England. That is why this period is also known as Commonwealth period. Then English Civil War period is called the Puritan Age. As in the year 1642, we know that theaters were banned because according to the Puritans, theaters were immoral. So slowly during this period, drama was declining, and this ideology dominated the political power, religious life, and literary expression of England. As we can take the example of the writer John Milton, who was a Puritan and who has written works related with Puritan ideology. So, because Puritan ideology dominated this period, so that is why this period is known as the Puritan Age. So, historical background में you have to remember civil war fought between royalists and the parliamentarians. The timeline of this war and this period is known as Interregnum Commonwealth and Puritan Age. Then in the year 1653, Oliver Cromwell became the Lord Protector of England because there was no king during this period. So, Oliver Cromwell, who was a leader of the parliamentary forces, so then in the year 1653, he became the Lord Protector of England during the Commonwealth and Interregnum period. The theatres were banned, which we have already discussed in the year 1642, because the Puritans considered drama immoral and unsuitable during the Civil War, leading to the decline of English drama until the Restoration. So, theatres were banned in the year 1642 because, according to the Puritans, drama and theatres were immoral, and slowly the drama were declining during this period until the Restoration period. So, in the historical background, do remember these things. And Oliver Cromwell became the Lord Protector in the year 1653, and theatres were banned in the year 1642. Now, let us talk about the literary characteristics of this period. Literature deeply influenced by Puritan beliefs, as we have seen that uh, Puritan ideology dominated this period, so literature was deeply influenced by Puritan beliefs. Decline of drama, according to the Puritans, theatres and drama were immoral. So that is why drama was slowly declining during this period. And in 1642, theatres were closed. Then prose became the dominant literary form because drama was slowly declining and the writers started writing the prose. Then we have religious poetry. John Milton is the central poetic figure. So, in the literary characteristics, do remember that literature was deeply influenced by Puritan beliefs. There was decline of drama, prose became the dominant literary form, and writers started writing the religious poetry. Now, let us talk about the major writers of this period. First, we have the important writer John Milton from 1608 to 1674. In these videos, we are not going to talk about each work in a very detailed manner because if we are going to talk each work, then this video is going to be very long. So, in these slides, मैंने बस writers के name लिए हैं और उनके कुछ important writers with their publication dates. Okay, so we have John Milton who has written the poetry Paradise Lost in 1667, which is an epic poem in blank verse, and this work is based on the theme of fall of man. Then we have Paradise Regained, published in the year 1671. Then we have Samson Agonistes in 1671, a closet drama, which is a symbol of Milton's own blindness and struggle. As we know that in the age of 23, Milton got blind. So this work is a symbol of Milton's own blindness and struggle. Then we have his prose work, Areopagitica in 1644, which is a defense of freedom of the press. Then we have Thomas Hobbes from 1588 to 1679, and he has written this work, Leviathan, published in 1651. It is one of the most important works of political philosophy in English. Apart from Thomas Hobbes, we have Jeremy Taylor from 1613 to 1667, who has written this work, Holy Living and Holy Dying. Then we have Andrew Marvell, a great poet of this period, from 1621 to 1678, and he has written these poems to his coy mistress, The Garden, and Horatian Ode upon Cromwell's, written from Ireland. Then we have another important writer, John Bunyan from 1628 to 1688. He has written this famous religious allegory called The Pilgrim's Progress in the year 1678. Then we have the other important writers of this period, Richard Baxter, who has written this work, The Saints' Everlasting Rest. Then we have George Fox, who has written a religious, autobiographical religious narrative called Journal of George Fox. Then we have Henry Vaughan, who is famous for the work Silix Scintillans. Then we have John Lindburn, and after him we have James Harrington, who has written this work Oceana in the year 1656. Apart from him, we have Isaac Walton, who has written this work Complete Angler, and who is considered a pioneer of English biography because he has written English biography on these following writers: Life of John Donne, Life of Sir Henry Wotton, Life of Richard Hooker, and Life of George Herbert. So, in major writers, just to remember the names and their important works of this period, we have John Milton. Then we talked about Thomas Hobbes, Jeremy Taylor, Andrew Marvell, John Bunyan, who has written this famous work, Pilgrim's Progress. Then we talked about the other writers of this period, Richard Baxter, Henry Vaughan, Isaac Walton, who is considered a pioneer of English biography. So that's all for today. If you have any query, you can post your comments in the comment section down below. I will meet soon in the next video. And if you have any kind of suggestion regarding any video, any topic, then do let me know. Thank you.